This hour is brought to you by Jeremy Temple Law Office of Bloomington. Personal injury, criminal, business, whatever you need, Jeremy Temple Law Office will get you taken care of.
Well, we're coming to your city. Gonna play our guitars and sing you a country song. We'll all be flying higher than a jetliner. And if you want a little bang in your yin-yang, come along.
Well, come on along and welcome aboard Indiana Sports Beat with Coy O'Leary. Thanks for joining us here on this Friday, January 10th. Lots to get to. Talk about Indiana women's basketball. They go to 4-0 in the Big Ten. Men's basketball getting ready for Ohio State tomorrow. Plenty more to talk about with football. Lots of games coming up. Lots of games to talk about. Pete Dye passed away. We'll talk about that as well. But welcome along. Jake's keeping us on the track. And, of course, our running mate, Todd Leary. Todd, how are you, sir?
I am great this morning. How about you?
Just doing fine. It's a little sad note. I saw Pete Dye, the famed golf designer, passed away. Man, you hear his name so often when you hear somebody talking about a golf course.
Yeah, I mean, he is obviously in Indiana. He's known for Crooked Stick and that stuff. But I mean, just nationally, his name is synonymous with golf design and all that. And as a golf nerd, you know how much I've always enjoyed the courses he's played or he's designed. And I think this is a fact. This would be crazy, but I think this is a fact. You know, the first course he ever designed was Salm Park Golf Course, public course in Indianapolis.
Really?
Yep. And most people would have no idea that Pete Dye designed that course.
And how do you know that?
Man, I feel like it's one of those random stupid facts that I learned a long time ago that I was shocked at.
I wonder how many Pete Dye courses there are in Indiana. There's one at French Lick, I believe, right?
Is he the designer of that one? The
Is
awesome one?
Well, yeah. Isn't that a Pete Dye course?
I don't know that.
I think that it is. But, yeah, you sure hear his name with some big sawgrass, TPC sawgrass in Florida.
I know it was just awesome when the last time the BMW championship was at Crooked Stick, maybe 3 or 4 years ago. I know he was seen around the course just driving around during the week, like before the tournament started and that stuff. And it was just such. I know some friends that got pictures of themselves with him and Alice and all that, and it was just some cool stuff. Those are things you hang on your wall and talk about forever. Yep,
he's one of the biggies of the sport, man. No matter there's different ways for people to contribute or be involved, and he sure is involved in the manner of which people play the game. So,
I'm going to say he probably was responsible for that course at French Lick because it's called the Pete Dye course at French Lick. So you're probably right. Hit the nail on the head with that one.
Smart man.
You are a genius.
Nothing gets by you.
Genius.
Yeah, I didn't realize they call it the Pete Dye course, but
it is.
That's like asking who's buried in Grant's tomb.
True. I'm just going to claim stupidity on that one because that's something I definitely should have known. I've played that course, just have not just forgot that's what it was named.
Well, you won't be playing golf today because, man, it has been raining all day.
Pouring.
It's one of those soakers. One of those wish you could be home and just not doing much. But no golf today. But you can't complain about the temperatures for January in Indiana. I'm telling you, I'll take it.
That's no doubt. I couldn't be happier. I mean, I had the window open all night. It was so awesome.
Indiana women's team, they reached another milestone last night. They go to 4-0 in the Big Ten, Todd. They are en route to a Big Ten title. They knock off arch rival Purdue last night, 66-48. Again, led by Allie Patberg with 18 points, who's on the midseason Wooden Award watch list. Alexa Gube had 10 and 8, also 4 blocks in that game. Man, this Indiana team, they're looking pretty solid in the Big Ten.
Yeah, they are. And you know what's crazy is to look around and see, I believe the other ranked teams in the Big Ten, I want to say maybe Maryland and somebody else both got beat yesterday. I mean, if you look around, all the other Big Ten teams that are ranked in women's basketball are getting beat almost every time they play right now. So Indiana is really setting themselves apart, and they're still the only undefeated team left in the Big Ten. It's impressive.
Yeah, I think they're ranked 12th right now.
Yeah, I mean, that'll continue to rise, I would assume. As conference play starts, there'll be a lot of teams getting knocked off. The women's team they're just so solid. It's we talked about it going into the year. I think we were going to make a bunch of comparisons to the men's and women's team from the standpoint of, both teams had different players that could step up and be the leading scorer, almost every night. And the women's team sure has stuck to that, and they have had different people step up, and they're just solid. I mean, they're going to be tough out.
Hey, they're looking at bumping up towards a big-time seed in the NCAA tournament here. I know that even though they're only ranked number 12 right now, they're 14-2. They've only lost 2 games all season, and those 2 games were against top 10 teams. So they're going to end up, and with what you just said about the Big Ten, they should have a pretty good run through the rest of the regular season. They could end up with potentially a number 2 seed in this NCAA tournament, I think.
Yeah. Oh, it could be. I mean, it could be outrageous if they continue on the pace that they're on and continue to get better. It's nuts how good they could end up being. But it's just awesome to see them, have expectations and live up to them and continue to play well and continue to just get better. I mean, they have. I think the coaching staff. I heard them talking the other day. I think they would continue to tell you that their team is improving on a weekly basis, and that's scary for the rest of the Big Ten.
I saw Brenna Wise back behind in the bowels of Assembly Hall the other night during the men's game. She was talking to some of the people that work there at the stadium and say, "Hey, are you working here Wednesday night or whatever? We're playing Purdue." She was just happy and upbeat, and you can tell they are happy and upbeat, and they're playing that way and they're having fun together, and that is extraordinarily evident when you watch them. I mean, they all have a smile on their face, and they're a joy to watch. I can tell you.
Yep. I mean, we're basketball nuts. So, people in the state of Indiana love to see good basketball, whether it's at the high school level or men's or women's or whatever. And this women's team is solid. Like they're legit.
The Indiana football program, little news, next season, they open up a couple things here. You're going to open up on the road at Wisconsin. So you open up the season in Big Ten play, but not only that, on the road and at a tough place is at Wisconsin. But now, to add to all this, it's going to be on a Friday night. So they've changed this to a Friday night game, which I absolutely see with disdain. I hate Friday night college football games. Leave Friday nights alone, and it's just for TV, and it drives me nuts.
Yeah, that one. I'm not a fan of that one at all. I mean, even Thursday nights I'm fine with, but leave Friday nights to high school football and basketball. I mean, I am, especially football season when almost every high school team throughout the state plays on Fridays, and there's just no reason. I mean, there is a reason, money and TV, but didn't they do this, I want to say last year?
They've done it for a couple years now. I thought that they were kind of good. I thought that they had moved through and were kind of done with it is the thing.
Yeah, that's a crappy one. I'm not a fan of that one at all, especially when it's on the road like that because, I mean, if it was even a home game, I think fans could get somewhat more excited for it, but not a fan.
Yeah, it's just a difficult deal, but we'll talk about that more later. There were some games last night. Let's see. Oh,
yeah,
man.
Purdue's double overtime game last night.
Yeah, I watched that. How about that? I mean, Purdue almost got away with a huge road win at Michigan as they lose in 2 overtimes, 84-78, but Michigan was a 5.5-point favorite in that game. Man, Purdue did all they could to win that game except win the game.
Yeah, they did. I mean, they led almost the whole second half, and I really thought they were going to sneak away with one. I'm telling you, whatever team's able to go, just catch a team on the right night. They had Michigan on the right night. Michigan was playing without Isaiah Livers last night again for the third game in a row with a groin injury, and that's the time to get them. I mean, he's their second leading scorer and the most creative offensive player they have, and I thought Purdue was going to get him. I really did, but Michigan was even missing free throws at the end for them. It was they had every opportunity.
How would that have thrown a wrench into the Big Ten season if Michigan loses at home to a team that you don't expect them to lose to?
Yeah, I mean it would shake it all up. I mean, right now, there are so many. Every game you look at, you're just like, oh man, that they could win that. No, they should win that. Like every game, I could flip flop back and forth and make an argument what the other team could do to win, and it's just nuts. Like, isn't Maryland at Iowa tonight?
Yes, they are. Maryland's a 1.5-point favorite at Iowa. So
Hoosier fans got to be rooting for the Hawkeyes tonight. If we want to finish in the top. Get up there in the top 4 or 5 of the Big Ten, we need Maryland to have a few more losses.
Ryan from Northern Indiana says, Ryan P., at the end of the day, it's up to the players to step up. It doesn't look like some of the guys have much of a sense of urgency, and enough of the 10, 11-man rotation. We're not that deep. Ryan, Northwest, big Leary fan. Well, you're fired, Ryan. No.
Yeah, I mean – You don't have to compliment me to get us to talk about your text in. We appreciate him, but he's right on the money with a lot of stuff. I mean, I think he's repeating some stuff that we heard from the coaches, which we hope they stick to. I mean, this is not an Archie Miller statement. This is coaches kind of in general, but when you make comments in a post game press conference, sometimes you're making them kind of in the heat of the moment. And then after you go watch film, you kind of maybe back down from them a little bit. I hope the 11-man rotation comment and getting away from that Archie talked about in the press conference the other day, I hope he sticks to that because it's truly time to start limiting some guys' minutes. And you know what? I hope Devontae Green comes out and plays awesome. I hope he gets motivated by not playing at the end of that ball game the other night.
Tommy says, I got my tickets for the game Saturday. Night still going to be there? ? Yeah, that's the big rumor, man. Everybody's talking about the night. And there are people that I know that are coming in from far away. It's going to be kind of funny if this does not happen because we're going to be there regardless because we're at every game. This is not something special for us that we have to come in special for. Hint, hint, because we're at every game covering the Hoosiers for you. But, if this doesn't happen, and I can see it not happening because that would be very night-ish to say, oh, everybody's expecting me, not coming.
Yeah, definitely, without a doubt, the old night would have probably been that way. I mean, he's just so much different now. The thing that, one of the things that people need to keep into consideration is – he has his health is not great, and he has good days and he has not so good days. And I don't think that they ever can really plan on too much. I know Dr. Rink helps out a bunch, and I know Karen, his wife, they try to do all they can, but there's just some days he's just not gonna be out in the public and do stuff. He's just not physically and health wise. He shouldn't be, so it's hard to plan that. I think that they're past all of the, issues of he doesn't want to come back to Assembly Hall for any particular reasons. I mean, I'm not trying to be funny, but I think he's forgotten all that.
Yeah, that stuff's all in the past.
He's past that. It's just now it's kind of a matter of health situation and making it happen logistically. Like you talk about people coming in from out of town. Sage Steele texted me this morning and asked me if I had true confirmation. She was going to get on a 5 a.m. flight tomorrow to be here if she knows for a fact he's going to be there. That's how important it is to some people. But I mean, we can't confirm that. We don't know. We don't know for a fact. We know that there's the people around him would like to make it happen, but I don't think health wise anybody can confirm it's going to happen for sure.
Have we had Sage on the show yet? I can't remember.
Not since I've been here.
Okay. No, I thought that I had texted her and I couldn't remember if I had or not. We need to get Sage on.
Yep, we do. I agree.
Yeah, well, if Knight shows up, she would have been the first one we talked to next week.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. She is as big a Hoosier fan as there is.
Well, she really got a kick out of it when he showed up to that deal a while back. She seemed to really get a kick out of that, and it harkened back to her days here at college at IU, and
she's
and
got
talked
some cool
about
stories about him being in Army with her dad and stuff like that.
And knowing who her dad was,
right.
I mean, and I talk about that, and not to take this in a negative direction, but and that's what I mean by when I talk about. Archie Miller's personality is talked about a lot. And when you make that kind of an impact on people, it sticks with them. But when you don't, that also sticks with them. And I think you're seeing a case right there of something that stuck with somebody for the duration of her lifetime and made an indelible mark. And so it's just it's a cool thing. I mean, I know the times that I've met Bob Knight, they all stand out without doubt. He's just an imposing figure for one thing. I mean,
he's the biggest, he's the tallest and most imposing 6'4" or 5 person in the world. You know, I mean, he seems like he's 11 feet tall when you meet him, but he's really not. He's only 6'4" or so, and he seems like he's so larger than life is the term that people use all the time, but it's just true. Like he walks in a room and, you know, he looks like Andre the Giant.
He just he is an imposing figure. Is the lack of that's quite sufficient. It's
not strong enough, is it?
Yeah, it's not quite sufficient, but that he is.
he truly is like one of the most intriguing. Just one of the people. Like if sports people could, interview one person and they could literally only interview one person from any era of sports. I mean, Coach Knight would be on a lot of those people's lists. And like, I'll tell you straight up, I got to go play in Europe for 2 years. I got to go play professionally after my career at Indiana. And it was solely from the standpoint of I played for Bob Knight, and the coaches wanted to know one thing. They wanted to know everything we did. And I mean, it had nothing to do with my abilities or any of that. They wanted to know stuff about Coach Knight. And everywhere I went in Europe, anytime that you said you were from Indiana, the very first thing anybody asked was something about Bob Knight. And that was in Europe.
That's amazing. And there's a story I saw the other day we'll get to on the other side of the break, but I think a guy from Japan come over and just wanted to learn from Tom Izzo and stood outside of the Breslin Center waiting to meet him.
Really?
You swear. We'll talk about that when we come back on the backside. We got plenty more coming up here on Indiana Sports Beat with Coyle and Leary. Here it's Friday, January 10th, game weekend. We're back tomorrow. Indiana takes on who they play in Ohio State. Yeah. So we got that to talk about as well. So lots more. Stay tuned. Back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios right after this.
Listen to them old hound dogs.
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
I'm Rain Shaddy, and I'm a Hoosier. As a toddler, you could always find me running around in a cream and crimson onesie and a red IU hat reminiscent of those worn during the world-famous William Tell timeout, shouting, "Go Hoosiers!" Like many other alum, I chose to make Bloomington my home. As a civic and alumni leader, I have become very knowledgeable about our community and would love to share my insights with you as your realtor. Find me on Facebook or call or text me, Ryan Shaddy, with FC Tucker Bloomington Realtors at 765-623-9093.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the Golf Club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington.
This is AJ Moye.
This is Dan Dawkins.
Hey, this is Michael Lord, former Indiana basketball player.
This is Indiana football coach Tom Allen.
This is Jim Coyle with the Indiana Sports Beat. You can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for each and every day. Or, of course, on 97.7 The Ref in Evansville.
Bad theater seats, cheap Halloween masks, my apartment, all things with obstructed views. Add to these large trucks and buses. 18-wheelers and large buses have big blind spots, and like my apartment, they don't always have the best view. Bus and truck drivers deal with blind spots around the entire vehicle. Always take care not to ride alongside or too close behind them. Our roads, our safety. Learn more at sharetheroadsafely.gov.
You're on the line with Jamal Meeks, former Indiana Hoosier, number 23, 1992. And I'm on the beat with Jim Coyle.
This segment is brought to you by Reynolds Family Dentistry.
Every home been so long.
Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat. Coyle Larry with you here on this Friday, January 10th. And it is a rainy Friday. But it's not a cold one, so I'll take it.
Yeah. Did you see the temperature? I was looking up the football games for this weekend, the NFL games. Did you see the temperature in Baltimore?
I did not. I have not seen any of that. Hell, I don't even know if the temperature is going to be here.
It's going to be 60 here. The temperature in Baltimore Sunday is going to be 66 degrees and sunny.
That is nuts, buddy.
How's that even make any sense?
Well, global warming, I guess.
That's crazy. 66 degrees and sunny.
But I remember when I was a
snow.
kid, you always had that 70-degree January day.
Yeah. Well, we've had some good ones. If it just weren't raining today, we could definitely golf.
Telling you. Tim texts in and says, so if Peyton Ramsey is going to transfer, shouldn't he decide now, ? I'm sure that I'd be surprised if he starts this semester. If he starts this semester, I'd be surprised that he's going to transfer, but only because if he were going to go to Fresno State, for instance, though, following Kalen DeBoer, he pretty much already knows the offense, so there's nothing he's got to learn there.
Yeah, but you'd want to be in spring football. You'd want to be a part of
You'd
all
want to
that.
be. You'd think you'd want to be. Yeah, that's why I'm surprised that if he's going to transfer, that he didn't do it now. That he has not entered the transfer portal. Or
I don't think he'll transfer. I really don't.
I think that it's a good chance that he doesn't. I mean, because his deal is he's going to go into coaching. So he can look at that as, you know what, I'm not going to play, but I'm not going to get hurt. I can use this. I can be ready, and there's a very good chance I'll play if things continue. Michael Penix was not the most durable this past season, and so there's a good chance he'll play anyway. But a lot of learning that he can do. And then as soon as that season's over, he would probably jump right into becoming a grad assistant at Indiana. And then probably and I would guarantee you he would be hired by Tom Allen immediately upon completion of that.
Yeah, and the one area of all of this that you and I don't know if we differ on it. I think I have a sense of more from his perspective. I don't think he's given up on his abilities and him being able to beat Michael Penix out for the job next year. And whether that happens or doesn't happen, kids are sometimes overly confident. I don't think that's the case with him, but I think he's very confident in his abilities, and I think he feels like even if they were both healthy, there are still situations next year where he would play. And I think that would factor into it. And I think what you said in the long run is the biggest factor. I think he's in a better coaching position situation, I would guess, if he stays here at Indiana. But I don't think he's writing off his playing options as much as you or some other people think that he is.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? It's hard to get into the mind of somebody else.
Yeah.
Especially in this day and age. But we'll find out.
Think about. I talk about this with recruits all the time. When recruits, when people say when a program's down, kids don't really want to go there, and that's just not true. I mean, the fan base has as big a factor in that as anything. But kids think that they're the difference. They get crazy confident, and I'm telling you, after this season, I don't know that he is willing to just say, the job's going to be Mike Penix's again.
Hey, feel free to hit us up on the text line 812-269-6367. Hit us up anytime, even if we're not on, if we're not live, we'll get to your question or your comments. That's 812-269-6367. Also, share the show wherever you see it out there, however you're finding it. Of course, if you're on radio, it's kind of hard to share it that way. But otherwise, if you're by podcast, share it out, or Facebook, share it out, website, share it out. However your mode of transportation is, we appreciate it very much. Text in from Tebow. Do you think we just overlooked Northwestern? Maybe we will be more motivated for Ohio State. My opinion is absolutely not. They just are in whatever funk that they're in right now, and whatever. There's a lot of things that have contributed to that funk: bad play, bad coaching, poor motivation, bad rotations, just all kinds of stuff, bad shooting. You can just there's so many things I think you can lump into there that there's no one thing to fix, but there's a place you can start. And I think Archie Miller's starting with that he's going to be limiting some guys, Todd.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's for sure. I mean, I think that one factor in this, and I'm not making an excuse. They definitely could have played better. That's an understatement. But there were so many different areas they could have improved on. I thought guys could have even played harder, and they definitely could have played smarter. But one factor that's not an excuse, but just to keep in mind with all of this, is Northwestern mucks the game up. Like they they want to make it an ugly game. They're just kind of like their football team. They want to make it an ugly game. So if you play fast, they want to play slow. If you're a team that wants to slow it down, they want to play fast. They have the ability to do that. I mean, they want to make you uncomfortable. And no, Indiana had a 10-point lead at 30-20 and should never have gotten in the position that they were in. But once they fell behind, it's one of those games like things that Northwestern accomplished exactly what they wanted to. They just didn't finish it out. And Indiana can't allow that to happen for sure. But you're taking a Michigan State team that everyone right now was ranked number 1 to start the year and is leading the Big Ten, still undefeated. And I mean, they only won by 5. Michigan State beat Northwestern by 5. I mean, they made it ugly. So it's not the end of the world in that scenario. And it just is, I think now everyone's going to say to me, and I have no argument for it, is, well, what about the Arkansas game and the Maryland game right before those? I mean, those are 3 games in a row. Yes, it's a trend. They are not playing great. But don't freak out and think that they're going to finish in the bottom 3 of the Big Ten just because they had a 4-point game with Northwestern.
Yeah, and they have a great opportunity, like I said, Saturday.
Yeah,
because they have an opportunity to be challenged by a team that on paper has looked to be better than they are, but they haven't played that way. So you get a team that's not playing well, and this would be a solid win for Indiana, even though Ohio State has already lost a couple in a row. But this is the kind of win you need to get.
I mean, if you're going to compete for the Big Ten, you've got to have these kind of wins, and the difference with Ohio State is, against Northwestern, Indiana is more talented at every position than Northwestern. They're bigger physically, they're better basketball players, so they're better athletically. In every aspect, they're better than every player for Northwestern. And against Ohio State, you can't say that. Against Maryland, you probably couldn't say that. But you could say that against Arkansas. And that's another team where you look at it and you're like, okay, well, they didn't play that well because they are definitely physically better than that team. And Ohio State, Indiana can't say that. I mean, they have a good center who's a veteran guy. You know, his brother, Andre Wesson, I think that's his name, Andre Wesson. He's sometimes he was their best player the other night when they played. You know, Kyle Young is the guy. He's kind of the question mark for me. I'm hoping he doesn't play. He's set out 2 games in a row. I can't even remember what his injury is. Do you know? Do you remember?
I do not.
I can't remember what his injury was. I don't know if it was a concussion or what it was, but he's huge for them. I think he only averages like 8 points, but he is so solid, and he gets every offensive rebound that matters. And it's just, this team has really good guards. The one thing that they don't do great is shoot the ball. But they have more guys that are capable of making outside shots than Indiana does. So,
Ron in Scottsdale, Arizona says, love the show. I could be mistaken, but I thought I read that Peyton Ramsey needs this semester in order to be a grad transfer and eligible to play right away somewhere else. Very good point. Very possible. And that would make complete sense, Ron. Thank you so much for texting in. And more importantly, thanks for listening.
Hearing from Arizona. Love that.
That's right. Appreciate it. Arizona's in the house this morning. Appreciate you. We got Australia in the house. We got we got Dr. J. Dr. J's in the house.
Hey, if Ron is a member at any golf courses out there in Arizona, I am fully capable of traveling out there during the winter months.
There you go. Dr. J's in the house said, I always heard that Penix's durability was an issue during his college recruiting, so maybe Ramsey stays because he thinks there is a good shot at still playing. That's very possible because that's been the case so far.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was saying a few minutes ago. I mean, I don't think that he would stay just because he wants to be a coach. I mean, I think in his mind, I think he still feels very competitive in that quarterback race.
Another text in, and I don't know who this is. I need to get a name from them. But do you expect Green to start?
You know, that's an interesting question. I do, and the reason I do is because it's kind of been the pattern that Archie Miller has had. He has been very reluctant to change the starting lineups. So I do expect him to start, but
he's also been very reluctant to bench people, and he did
great. And he did that the other night. So that's I don't want to say it gives me hope that he might change the lineup. Yeah, I don't mind Devontae starting. I mean, I still like Devontae can be a huge impact on this team. I mean, if they're going to be really, really good, Devontae is going to need to be a part of it.
I think people want to know that Devontae has gotten the message. That
I agree.
He needs to be Devontae because he can't play any other way than being Devontae, and that's okay. But you have to be Devontae within the concept of a team and a team goal.
No doubt. And just I don't even think that Devontae Green is selfish. I really don't. Just because he shoots a lot doesn't make him selfish. He should shoot a lot. He should shoot more than he shoots, to be honest with you. In my opinion, but he's just got to play smarter. He's got to pick his spots. And I was thinking about this the other day out of him, and he's kind of streaky. But when he gets hot, he's unstoppable. And we're due for him to get hot. I mean, does anybody remember back in the Jay Edwards days? I mean, Jay Edwards, when that guy got hot, Indiana was unbeatable. And it's been a while since they've had guys like that. I mean, Eric Gordon could get hot, but it just was pretty rare. I mean, he just didn't shoot the ball. He's much better pro than he was. And I said that back when he was in college, that he'd be a better pro than he was a college player. And I love Eric Gordon's game. I love every aspect of it. He just wasn't. He was a streaky shooter, in my opinion.
That was Brad and Jasper. Thank you.
That was Brad and Jasper. Nice.
Yeah, Brad and Jasper. And then now we got a text in from Tim. Does Bob Knight showing, meaning the fans will show up, does that mean a rocking assembly hall motivate Indiana to go all out and beat Ohio State? Oh, it would certainly be a rocking assembly hall. There's no doubt about that. I mean, I don't know. I don't know when would you do that? When would you?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. Before the game, hopefully.
You'd have to because, man, the interruption that it would cause.
Yep.
And I don't mean this in a negative way. It's just it's going to be a circus.
And
Be clamoring. I mean, you got people that are coming in from out of town just because they think he's going
because
to
there's a possibility. I mean, it makes sense. You look at it on paper, it's a former player and manager reunion game, which means there's going to be a lot of former players and managers that are back, especially because now there's a rumor that he might be there. A lot of guys who did not show up for the event back in November, and where Coach Knight did show up, like I can assure you, I felt very fortunate to be there. I know the guys who weren't there wish they had been, or a lot of them wish they had been. So I don't think anyone wants to risk missing that opportunity again. But on the flip side of it, I also don't. I mean, there's no guarantee that he's going to be there, and health wise, it just only makes sense. But if this happened, it would be if you could make it before the game. I think it could have a huge impact on the game. And I'm going to tell you this. You can take every coach on either team. You can take every player on either team. You may be able to take every single person that's in the building. And no matter how many sporting events they've ever been at, this arena would be louder than any sporting event they've ever been at in their entire life. That's how crazy I
don't. It's going to be the craziest thing I think Assembly Hall's ever seen.
Totally, without a doubt.
I mean, I'm sitting here trying to think.
It'll be like the Watt Shot.
There's but bigger. Well, it won't be bigger as far as that moment of.
It will be a long lasting. How long do you think that'll last? How long do you think that ovation would last?
That's what I'm talking about. Even when the ovation ends, it still won't end.
The buzz in the place.
That's what I'm talking about right there. That's exactly what I was trying to articulate and not doing in a very good manner, but that you helped me bring it around. That's exactly what I'm talking about. That buzz, I can't see it just not going away unless Indiana got down by 20 points right off.
Yeah, you're right. You're right about that. But it just would – I mean, the electricity in the entire town for the whole day would just be measurable. It'd be incredible. But I mean, I just don't know. I can tell you right now, the administration does not have anything scheduled. So no, the introduction. It's hard to plan that when they're not sure if he's going to be there or not. And so at least my sources are telling me
that's been said by the school. This is nothing that has been said by anybody to do with Bob Knight. This has been nothing to do with anybody. Period. Other than guessing now, I mean, you've guessed that you thought that the rumor would be true, but we don't have confirmation of it. It's a lot of things pointing in that direction. This is a game. It's Ohio State. It's where he played.
That has nothing to do with it. I honestly don't believe that has anything to do with it.
I'm just saying there's a lot of things going into it.
The former player and manager attendance is the thing. I mean, that's what got him to show up at the Bluebird. I mean, that's what he's specifically said. That's what got him to show up at the Bluebird. So I think that is the main factor. I mean, this only happens once a year. I mean, they only have a former player reunion game. Now there's former players at every game, but there'll be dozens of former players and managers at this game. And that got him to show up to the Bluebird. And there'll be way more people here than there was then.
Jennifer in Evansville says having former players there will get the crowd rowdy. Yes, it will. Thank you, Jennifer.
Having former players there will get the crowd to cheer sitting in their seats. Having Bob Knight show up will get everyone to stand on top of their seats and lose their mind, including the former players, including a couple of us former players. I would love it. I'm telling you, that's an atmosphere that we would all talk about forever, for sure.
Yeah, it's good. It'll be, if it happens, it's going to be something. Tim texted in, and this is a little bit of bad news for. Did you see that James Blackman's little brother Jalen tore his ACL out for the season?
I did not
see that, man. That's rough.
Oof.
I think he's a junior this year, and he's a guy that. Not saying he could have gotten there, but was going to try to make an assault on Damon Bailey's scoring record. He's one of the guys that had scored a lot early, and that's what you have to do if you have any shot at that. But this will definitely take him out of that.
Yeah. I mean, you need all the games possible to get that scoring record.
Yeah, you can't miss one.
What is it, like 37,000 points or something crazy?
33, I think, 32.
It was like 3,200.
32, 146, 33, 146, something like that.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
How many you think he would have had? How many points do you think he would have averaged if he played in Indianapolis?
We differ on this. I don't think it would have changed. I think,
my God!
I'm telling you, I think he was a cagey of enough player that he would have been the guy on his team. He's just one of those guys.
He would have for sure been the guy on his team, but he would have been playing people. I mean, he was a 6'2" center. Hey, believe me, I hope everybody understands this. Damon Bailey is a way better player than me. I'll never say anything different than that, on or off the air. But I'm going to tell you, there isn't a chance in hell he would have had 3,200 points if he played in Indianapolis, based on the competition, not based on him.
I know Indianapolis people think that, but you forget that he was playing Jeffersonville and New Albany and Floyd Central
and Mitchell and all those other little schools. I'm saying, think about how many points he scored.
Every team's got cupcakes on their schedule. I'm just saying.
I'm just telling you, you are way off base. When you have 4 or 5 big schools,
I guess go back and look at the state tournament run and see what he scored in the last 2 games. That was against pretty high competition.
Agree. Imagine doing that every single night. I mean, I averaged 27 in the two state championship games too. I didn't average 27 for my career, so you can't really base it off of that.
No, I'm just giving you just a for instance. We got to get a break. We got a lot more. We got a lot more text to get to. You guys are killing it today. We love it. Appreciate you so much. You are the reason we do this, and we love it. I got plenty more Tom Bruce on the program today. We'll talk about that as well. We'll continue this conversation. Back with more at the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios. Coyle Leary back right after this. Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want to smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
I'm Rain Shaddy, and I'm a Hoosier. As a toddler, you could always find me running around in a cream and crimson onesie and a red IU hat reminiscent of those worn during the world-famous William Tell timeout, shouting, "Go Hoosiers!" Like many other alum, I chose to make Bloomington my home. As a civic and alumni leader, I have become very knowledgeable about our community and would love to share my insights with you as your realtor. Find me on Facebook or call or text me, Ryan Shaddy, with FC Tucker Bloomington Realtors at 765-623-9093.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the Golf Club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make it tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington.
This is AJ Moye.
This is Dan Dawkins.
Hey, this is Michael Lord, former Indiana basketball player.
This is Indiana football coach Tom Allen.
This is Jim Coyle with Indiana Sports Beat. You can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for each and every day. Or, of course, on 97.7 The Ref in Evansville.
Bad theater seats, cheap Halloween masks, my apartment, all things with obstructed views. Add to these large trucks and buses. 18-wheelers and large buses have big blind spots, and like my apartment, they don't always have the best view. Bus and truck drivers deal with blind spots around the entire vehicle. Always take care not to ride alongside or too close behind them. Our roads, our safety. Learn more at sharetheroadsafely.gov.
This is former Indiana basketball player Brian Evans, and you're listening to Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle.
This segment is brought to you by Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
Have you ever seen the rain? I won't know.
Oh, that's very appropriate. Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat with Coyle Leary here on this rainy Friday, Soggy Bottom Boys Friday. But that's okay. We're going to warm it up.
Hey, I have some important, very important Yogi's restaurant news that
breaking news
for tomorrow, Saturday, for the early tip-off, noon tip-off. They will be opening at 10 o'clock instead of 11 o'clock tomorrow. Anybody headed to the game can get to Yogi's early. They'll be open at 10.
And speaking of Yogi's, you know that's where we'll be after the game with Todd Leary, Indiana, Ohio State. Post-game show coming to you live from Yogi's, brought to you by Best Beer Incorporated of Bloomington, of course. But you might want to show up. You never know who's going to be there since this is the basketball player-manager reunion. You never know who's going to show up afterwards. So we'll be there for a minute, for a hot minute.
Be a lot of former dummies. A lot of former dummies there.
How many people you expect are showing up for this thing?
Player-wise?
Yeah.
I'll guess 30 to 40 players, and I'll guess 50 managers.
Yeah, the managers don't get the
manager. The only reason I say that's because there's always more managers than there were players. Like every year there were. I mean, we probably had maybe 12 or 13 players on the team. I bet we had 30 managers, 20 to 30 at least.
Gee whiz.
Yeah, they don't have it that way anymore, but they still have quite a few. But the managers, and they were the hardest working people. I mean, they made the world go round for us.
Now, I don't think they did this back then, but they play the teams that they're playing now. Managers do.
Yeah, no, they always did it. Of course,
did they? I can't remember if they did that.
Oh my gosh. Well, okay, so here's how. When I was the red shirt, I kind of helped coach them that year. It was a big deal. Like, it's a big deal. And Purdue I always remember, they don't play every team, but they play a lot of the teams, especially Purdue. And it's like the manager Super Bowl for the year. And it's a big deal. You get beat in that Purdue manager game, and man, it's a long season.
Brad and Jasper asked, do they give Knight the mic when my time on earth is gone, ... Yeah, no, I don't see that happening.
Yeah, obviously they would love for that to be the case, but man, anyone, let's just say everything turned out awesome at the event at the Bluebird. Like, him getting up there and speaking and talking was great. And I love Coach Knight as much as anyone in the world as a fan does. But believe me, he will not be on the mic, and they don't want him on the mic.
No, absolutely not.
No one.
That's
does.
what I'm wondering. If it even happens, I'm wondering what they will do. Will they put him up in the
sure? Yeah, he for sure be up in like the president's suite area up there. I'm guessing for sure, mainly because you can walk straight in from outside, get on that escalator, and you're right there in that area. That's why, to me. But then I also think, like, as an introduction, I think they would have him down on the court, and I think that they would, I think he would walk out on the court.
That's what I'm saying. He's got to step on that floor in front of those people for this to be real, I think.
Can you just imagine? I can
imagine what it's going to be like. I mean, and the funny thing is, the students have no clue.
Yeah,
none. They know who he is. They've heard about him. Have no idea. They have no idea what he means to those older people.
That's kind of. I kind of got off topic earlier when I was saying it, but that's kind of what I meant. I was kind of leading down the path of Archie Miller, as much as as many arenas as he's been in and crowds he's played in front of and coached in front of. I think that Coach Knight stepping out on that floor and the players hearing, they know how loud it is in there on a regular basis, and seeing the pandemonium that would take place if he got out there, I think it would help the players significantly. It would help them realize kind of what that name on their jersey means and have a little bit more pride in it. I truly believe that.
Yeah, I'm just sitting here laughing because I can see Knight standing on that floor, and I can hear the sound in my ears and going, "Wow, that's something that they'll hear at halftime in the locker room."
Oh, geez.
They'll wonder what the hell is going on out there.
The people in the building next door will wonder what's going on in there. It will be that crazy.
Tim says, "This sucks. I will be out of town tomorrow. Got an appointment for our camper to get warranty work done. Gonna miss the game."
That's too much info.
Well, your camper's getting worked on, Tim, so you got that going for you.
Your camper can get worked on next weekend, Tim.
Family man.
All right, family truckster.
I hear that. Yeah, man, text. You guys have been great with the text today. We appreciate you so much. Indiana takes on Ohio State tomorrow, Todd, in a game that is winnable. Obviously, Ohio State they're kind of in a tailspin at 1-3 in the Big Ten Conference. Not at all where they expected to be, and 1-4 would put them in grave danger, not of missing anything, but it would just send a message to, wait a minute, this is supposed to be one of the best teams. But Indiana's got to worry about Indiana right now, and they have to worry about getting themselves in a better position. And 3-2 is where they absolutely need to be, especially with this game coming at home.
Yep, they really do. I mean, they're going to have to control the Wesson brothers. Caleb Wesson, the bigger of the brothers, playing inside, but he can step out and he can even make threes. He can step out. He's going to be a tough defend. I'm not sure. I'm assuming Joey Brunk will probably defend him. But I mean, Caleb Wesson has the ability to trail and shoot that 3-pointer from the outside also. So, you just, you worry about that. Heck, I think, Caleb Wesson's taken 50 3-pointers on the year. So, he's making 42%. He'd be leading Indiana from the 3-point line right now. But Andre Wesson, his brother, is kind of more of a swing man, but he dominated their game the other night. He was their best player on the floor. CJ Walker, the guard that's out of Indianapolis, that went to Florida State, transferred in this year. I mean, he's that guard you never want to play against. I mean, he's just solid and good. And, he only averages 7 points a game, but man, it sure seems like all 7 of his points always seem to be super important and come at a big time. And defensively, he's just a little gnat around there. He's always around the ball. And, they're good. They've got good players. They've got guys that are making shots now. They got DJ Carton, who's playing a lot more now. Dwayne Washington's making shots like crazy. I mean, he's shooting 44% from the 3-point line. It's just they're a good team. I mean, how they're 1-3, I don't know. But
who's going to guard Carton? He's been doing a really good job, especially for a freshman.
Yeah, I mean, you would guess probably that Finney / Al Durham, one of those guys will be on him. But I mean, CJ Walker's the guy I think you got to keep under control. I mean, CJ Walker can drive and penetrate. He's the guy that I think Finney and Al Durham will start on, and we'll have one of those two guys on him most of the time. But he can go out of the game and they can bring in another one. I mean, they've got good players. They've got solid players.
And this is a game where, and it doesn't matter, I know, but this is the game where we might see for the first time Rob Finney start instead of Devontae Green, just because of things that happened in the last game.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly, I don't think that'll happen. It could. It very easily could. But I won't read too much into that one way or the other. I say this all the time, and I firmly believe it. I don't really care who starts the game. It's more to me like the substitution patterns are what I don't like. I don't like 3 or 4 guys coming in at a time, because to me those are scheduled substitutions. I mean, when you send 3 guys to the scorers table to check in, I mean, you were pretty much planning on subbing at that first TV timeout or the 15-minute mark or whatever it might be. I mean, that I don't understand the scheduled substitutions. I would rather right now, like, when's the last time we looked at a guy towards the end of the game and said, "Oh my gosh, he's so tired"? Like, I need guys to look exhausted right now when this game's over because they're playing too many minutes.
Jennifer wants to make sure that Coach Knight is also not in the president's suite. She said, "I won't get to see him because I sit against the wall." Well, hopefully that you won't have to worry about that. Tim says, hopefully Ohio State misses most of the three-pointers like they did at Maryland. Well, yeah, that always helps when the other team's not hitting.
Yeah, I mean, don't bet on that.
No, don't. You can't count on that, though.
Nope. Yeah,
Indiana. That's something Indiana's going to have to do that I don't know that they've done this season. Maybe against Florida State, maybe against UConn, but they've got to play solid defense, start to finish. They've got to come out and play with some fire, play like their hair's on fire, because Ohio State is going to come in here. Their backs are against the wall. They really, really need to win this game. As difficult of place as it is to play, they really need to win this game. So they have to come out with their hair on fire and play hard. And Indiana's going to have to match that intensity. And I think that for Indiana to be successful, they're going to have to do that the entire game long. And I don't know that they know how to do that. I'm taking a page out of your book there with that, but I just don't think that they know how or want to play that hard for that long yet.
Yeah, I mean, they haven't. So I don't know how we can make an argument that says that they are capable of doing it because they haven't done it yet. But that's what's taught and that's what's preached and that's what these guys have to learn and understand is how valuable every possession is, how important the basketball is, and defensively, how important it is to make teams. This is the idea with defense. I mean, think about this. This can change a player's perspective on defense. You're not supposed to hold the other team scoreless. That's obviously the goal, but it's never happened. Okay, so all you're trying to do defensively is make every shot as difficult as possible. And if you do that and you rebound the basketball, most of the time you come out on the good end of it. And that's all that you can do. That's why, shot blockers and things like that, when you can get a shot blocker to understand he's not really supposed to block the shot, he's supposed to make the shot as difficult as possible, that helps you stay on your feet. If a guy scores a basket, what we learned from Coach Knight was, if you play good defense and you're in the right position and they score and make a shot, it's okay. Like that's fine. That's acceptable as long as you do the things you're supposed to do. But when you jump off your feet and try to block shots, or you get out of position, or you don't rotate on time, or you don't start in the right position, you're not on help side defense. When you do those things wrong, that's when you hit the bench. That's when you don't get to play anymore. And that's just what this team's got to understand. They're not trying to hold them scoreless. They've just got to make every single basket as difficult as possible. And they gave up 5 wide open layups to Northwestern, and that's 10 points. I mean, it's unacceptable.
They have to value each possession both ways.
Defensively. Yep.
Both ways.
Yep. Great point.
And they've not been doing that. We got a lot more to talk about here on Indiana Sports Beat with Coy O'Leary. Plenty more to get to. Tom Brew's going to be with us in the next hour as well, so stay tuned. We got all that coming and more here from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios. We're back with more right after this.
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
I'm Rain Shaddy, and I'm a Hoosier. As a toddler, you could always find me running around in a cream and crimson onesie and a red IU hat reminiscent of those worn during the world-famous William Tell timeout, shouting, "Go Hoosiers!" Like many other alum, I chose to make Bloomington my home. As a civic and alumni leader, I have become very knowledgeable about our community and would love to share my insights with you as your realtor. Find me on Facebook or call or text me, Ryan Shaddy, with FC Tucker Bloomington Realtors at 765-623-9093.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the golf club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington.
This is AJ Moye.
This is Dan Dockett.
Hey, this is Michael Lord, former Indiana basketball player.
This is Indiana football coach Tom Allen.
This is Jim Coyle with the Indiana Sports Beat. You can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for each and every day. Or, of course, on 97.7 The Ref in Evansville.
Bad theater seats, cheap Halloween masks, my apartment, all things with obstructed views. Add to these large trucks and buses. 18-wheelers and large buses have big blind spots, and like my apartment, they don't always have the best view. Bus and truck drivers deal with blind spots around the entire vehicle. Always take care not to ride alongside or too close behind them. Our roads, our safety. Learn more at sharetheroadsafely.gov.
Hey, this is Jordan Halls, former Indiana Hoosier. Keep up with Indiana sports on Indiana Sports Beat.
Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat with Coyle Leary here on this Friday, January 10th. Hope your week has been good. You're ready for the weekend. If not, hopefully we can get you prepared for it. Basketball going on this weekend. Indiana takes on the Ohio State Buckeyes on Saturday at noon. Simon Scott Assembly Hall in Bloomington. Big player manager reunion. Lots of guys are in town, Todd Leary.
Yep.
Hopefully lots of people joining us at Yogi's afterwards.
Yep. There will be there will be a fairly good turnout. I know from player perspective, I'm sure manager perspective, there will be as well. I enjoy these because we get to meet a lot of guys that are from years prior to me being there when I was just a small kid Indiana fan. And
who's someone that you haven't talked to much or at all that you would like to, former players?
I haven't talked to Greg Graham much. He was my roommate for 4 years. I haven't talked to him.
I'm thinking Ken Benson, Quinn Buckner. How about my roommate?
Well, Kent Benson, I see him quite a bit. Quinn Buckner, boy, I've got a bad Quinn Buckner story that I won't share on the air, but Quinn Buckner's not one of my favorite people, to be honest with you.
Okay.
He big-timed me. He big-timed me and Brian Evans one day, and I've never forgotten it. I've held a grudge for a long time.
Oh, man.
Yep.
Shocker. But I was thinking, is there a former player, not somebody that you played with necessarily, that was not from your era, hey, I'd like to talk to that guy. Never have really talked to him.
Randy Whitman. I mean, I have talked to him. He was my favorite player growing up. I mean, Ted Kitchell and Randy Whitman were it for me. Like, I thought they were the greatest thing ever. So I've always been a big Randy Whitman fan. And I don't, I've talked to him when he's been back in the past a couple of times. I talked to him more when I was a player, and he came back and talked to us a couple different times. And he's just one of my favorite players.
Yeah, that's an era. That's definitely an era of a lot of Indiana fans look back on fondly, man.
Yep.
You got the lady, the mop lady going down through there, everything. That just really goes back to the 70s and WTTV Channel 4 having the games, and Chuck Marlowe.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking – that's in the golden age of Indiana basketball right there.
Yeah, some of those old Bob Knight shows on Sunday morning, man, some of those were hilarious. They really – in today's world, you could not get away with doing some of the stuff they did.
Let's see. It's not so important stat from Tim. Was 92-93 the last time Indiana men's basketball team was ranked number one? No, they were ranked number one in 2013.
Yeah.
So there's the answer to that. Even I know that. Hey, I know something. Joker texts in, if IU doesn't match Ohio State's effort on Saturday, it could be a blowout and really ugly day for IU. Ohio State will be ready and all out to win this game. Yes, they certainly will for the reasons.
Okay. So what makes you say something like that? Like, what would make him say that?
That's what fans do, for one thing.
Okay, but think about. But look, this is what I'm asking these fans to look at and think about. But Ohio State's lost 3 games.
But they're fans. They're not going to. They're going to look at it like a fan does.
Okay, but hang on a minute. Just think about this. Ohio State's lost 3 games in a row. So what would make you think that Ohio State's going to come out ready to play? I mean, they got beat at home by Wisconsin.
Just common sense. You would think that they were going to come out ready to play because of that.
Common sense would tell you Indiana's going to be ready to play because they almost lost at home.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just saying that's not a common sense statement. Like that's that you don't know that Ohio State's going to get.
It gives us something.
Ohio State may have a bunch of head cases on their team. We don't know.
Right. It gives us something to talk about.
I love talking about the fact that Indiana has to play well. That part of it I agree with. I just don't understand why someone needs to say, Ohio State's going to come out ready to play. No, I don't know that.
Most people, you would think that. I mean, it may not have been worded perfectly, but most people probably think that that's going to be the case. Again, just from a common sense perspective. But, Indiana needs to play well. So that's, I guess, the more important thing. And whether Indiana plays well, they seem to have allowed a lot of teams to dictate the terms of the games here of late. And you talked about Northwestern having the ability to make games ugly and whatnot. And I think Indiana's just got to get a little more diligent at imposing their will in games and as opposed to allowing teams to dictate how things are going. But that comes with a veteran team.
Yeah, and they did do that to start the game out. I mean, Indiana scored 15 points in the first 5 minutes of the game. They were ahead 30-20. They did do that. They just lost it. They got away from it. And at 30-20, everyone felt comfortable, including myself. Like I really felt like, all right, I mean, they're going to control this game and this is going to be good for them and all that. And then they didn't score any more points for the last 7 minutes of the half. So it just was obviously, where it ended up.
Dr. J says, I'm really hopeful about Saturday. I won't get upset until Smith starts chucking up threes. I doubt you're going to see that. I doubt that you'll see that. I think that they're kind of getting that in line, I think, with the fact that Devontae Green sat for 11 minutes, the fact that Justin Smith got benched. I think that those messages are slowly making their way into these brains.
Here, okay, so I know Dr. J. I know people that listen to us regularly. They know, especially our post-game show, they know what I think of Justin Smith shooting three-pointers. Okay, they know I'm not a big fan of that. But here's something I want you to understand how important this is. He has shot, in the last 2 games, he shot at least 3 shots each game that were little runners or his back to the basket that were shots inside the lane. And I think he's made all of them but 1. And if he shoots, for every 4 shots he shoots inside the lane, I will let him shoot a three-pointer. That's how valuable I think his inside game is to this team. And he shot 2 3-pointers. I thought he played good in the Northwestern game. He was a huge factor in them winning. He was 7 for 11 from the field. He was 1 for 2 from the 3-point line. I'll let those other 9 shots that he took, besides he did shoot 1 shot from the baseline also that was about 15 feet. So I'll let him shoot those shots as long as his focus is on getting inside the lane and shooting inside the lane and playing with his back to the basket.
Roger at Evansville says, does Archie have past players come in and talk to the team at any time? Would it be a good idea? ?
coaches in the past have always kind of made a point of doing that. I do not, to my knowledge, that has not happened with Archie.
Tim, more not so important stats at the very first basketball game. Yeah, that was.
You don't have to read them all.
Yeah. I'm gonna skip that one, Tim. Sorry. This one's from Ryan in Northern Indiana. We are a basketball school that is not good in basketball. Well, not right now. They're not. That's a pretty good statement, though.
Well, I mean, there are a lot of times during a game that we can say they are not playing very well, for sure.
Dr. J agrees with you that Smith is totally cool to shoot 17 feet and inside.
Yeah, I mean, at 17 feet's even a stretch for me, to be honest with you. Like, I'm telling you, for every 4 shots he shoots in the lane, I'll let him shoot one from three-point lane. He's not, I'll tell you, if he would make one little tweak to his jump shot, I think he would be our second best three-point shooter, maybe our third best three-point shooter. Now, that's not saying he's good. If he would make one tweak to his jump shot, if they would let me work with him and him make one.
Who are we talking about?
Justin Smith.
I'm sorry. Is the sound breaking up?
Yeah, I know. I know it.
My headphones are going out.
As long as the ratio is 4-1 on shots inside the lane, I will allow it. But if he shoots a 3-pointer as one of his first 2 shots of the game, it's a bad shot. End of story.
Let's take a guy like Armand Franklin, and I'm not doing this to pick on him. Great kid, great player, going to be a good, important player for Indiana. I don't know that he shot this badly in high school, or were we just not aware of it? Or is there more eyes on it right now? But his shooting percentage is pretty bad.
It's awful. I mean, what is it?
I don't even have it in front 15?
of me. I think it's 15%.
Know it's pretty. I know it's in the teens, so
it was at 13%, and then he went 4 for 5 against Notre Dame, so that jumped it up to like 23 or 24%. But then I'm not sure he's made one since then. So,
but I asked this because there's been a pattern of this shooting thing, and these guys, are they getting worse, or are they not good to begin with? Why is the shooting been such an issue with these teams? And I know it's a national thing, but shooting's not as good anywhere, but it seems to be really prevalent. Free throw shooting has been awful. The last game you had 2 guys that just killed it, but overall they've not been a good free throw shooting team, not been a good shooting team, and I don't really understand that, especially when you got guys who are supposedly known for shooting.
Well, Devontae Green leads the team at 38% from the 3-point line. Now, obviously, he shot the most of them. He shot 66 3-pointers. Al Durham is next at 36%. He shot 47 3-pointers. And then you go down from there, and you've got, Finney has only shot 18 of them, so he's just barely over 1 a game, and he's making 33%. And then everybody else is 20s or less. And Armand Franklin is at 19%. From the 3-point line. He shot 41 3-pointers. He's 8 of 41. That's hard to beat. That's just not good.
The question is, has he gotten worse than when he was in high school, do you think?
I never saw him play in high school, so I can't answer that. Armand Franklin has, from a technical standpoint, Armand Franklin has the best looking jump shot on the team. Now, he has one major flaw in his shot, and it's just a bad habit. I've said this. I say this for years. Like, shooting is something, like, when you're good at it, even when you're good at it, you can still develop some bad habits. The best golfers in the world have swing coaches, and those swing coaches have to come in from time to time and fix little. You develop bad habits, and when you start doing something that's just the tiniest little bit off, it can affect your swing in golf. Well, it's this exact same thing in basketball and in your jump shot. And, in college, you don't have a shot coach. You don't have somebody that travels around with you. The Pacers have a shot coach. They have a shot doctor. And I don't know that there is one on this Indiana basketball team. I don't know the coaching staff has one.
Well, they're not allowed to from a standpoint that you talked about yesterday within
Well,
the rules.
right.
The rules, but I don't. I think what you're saying is within the coaching staff.
Within the coaching staff, they have Tim,
and I don't think that there
Tim
is
Buckley,
one either.
Tim Buckley was.
There's guys that probably are going to try to take that role on, but that does not make them a shot doctor.
No, it doesn't at all. You can't. You're either a shot doctor or you're not. Like you can't become one. Like I can sit there and tell Mike Roberts all day long that this is what somebody's doing wrong, but unless he knows how to fix it, it's not going to do me any good to tell him that. It doesn't.
Would it have been a good idea with the problem that the shooting has been for this team going on 3 years to have brought in a coach that's their expertise? I don't know that really exists, but surely that there is somebody out there.
Tim Buckley was a shot doctor. Tim Buckley for Tom Crean, for that team. Tim Buckley was the guy who he was qualified to be that. I don't know, and believe me, I'm not saying anyone there right now doesn't have this responsibility, but I don't know of anyone on Indiana's current staff, including Johnny Jager is a grad assistant or something with the team. I mean, he's there. I don't know that he's even qualified to work with guys on their shot. I've watched them intently. I show up early to the games, and I'm there for a purpose. Like, I want to watch some specific things that they're doing, and I can tell you they've got some flaws.
Tim says, I know Todd can't publicly work with the players, but can't you secretly kidnap each one of them one at a time and work on their shooting?
Well, one of the things that Coach Knight scared out of all of us was ever violating an NCAA rule. And so there's not a chance I'm going to be the one responsible for getting them in trouble.
Yeah, that's definitely something that they could use, but it's just like baseball, college baseball. They don't have a third coach, so basketball doesn't have a shot coach. But you would think that would be something that you could allow. I mean, I
don't understand. I mean, football. What's the difference between football and basketball? Like, why are you allowed to have all those?
I think the only difference is a lot of teams may not be able to afford that fourth coach, which is what that position would be. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just guessing that the NCAA thinks that fourth coach could be an advantage because some teams can't afford it. None of the Power 5 teams would have any difficulty with it. So
how many
let it be a
coaches are
rule
they allowed
in
in football? How many coaches are allowed in football?
Seems like dozens and dozens.
That's my point. Like, that's what I don't get. Like, why couldn't you have an offensive coordinator in basketball and a defensive coordinator and an assistant offensive coordinator and a point guard coach and a centers coach, and just like they do, quarterbacks coach. And
you got to take it up with Muppet Mark Emmert.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to advocate for
but if there's
here.
ever been a time that teams need this particular thing, a shot doctor, is now, because it's not just Indiana. Kids in general suck when it comes to shooting now.
Go to an AAU tournament. Go to an AAU tournament and watch what happens. You'll see 90% of the baskets that are scored in an AAU tournament are in transition in the lane. They're not jump shots. That's for sure. I mean, guys, the art of shooting has gone away.
If an offer was made for an assistant job at Indiana, would you take it?
100%.
There you go.
Of course.
But getting back to that question, because I didn't pay attention to the answer. Bringing in, like, when you have an opportunity to hire an assistant coach and you go out and say, I got to find a guy that's just a shot doctor. Would that not be – I know you have to depend on assistant coaches for recruiting and so many other things that I don't even know what all the responsibilities are. It may not be worth losing it, just their abilities in those areas for this. But I would think bringing in a shot doctor kind of coach would be of great advantage to a team.
Yes. I mean, here's the thing. I mean, I was told this growing up, and it's kind of the truth. Now I say it about something different, but if you can shoot, you can play, and the team will find a way to get you on the floor if you can score baskets. And now, like I always, when I coach AAU and when I tell kids now, I always tell this is a factual statement. I have yet to to prove this statement wrong, in that the leading rebounder on a team always plays the most minutes, always starts and plays as many minutes as anybody else. And so that's my incentive, to try to get guys to understand how important rebounding is. Growing up, I would have never told you that. I would have never said. I mean, it was scoring. I mean, that's the only thing that's fun. You don't ever see a kid go out and practice rebounding. I mean, it's just not a thing. So, it's an art of something that I think has gone away. I mean, I really do. When a kid can shoot right now, I mean, Jiminy Christmas, he's valuable.
And we see so many kids that are trying so hard to be that guy on the other side of that 3-point stripe, when if they would just step back inside of it around 17, 18 feet, those are more manageable and higher percentage shots. You could probably be averaging more points per game if some of them, i.e. Justin Smith, would stay focused within the confines of 17 feet and in.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I think the 3-point line, I think the movement in the 3-point line this year, I think it finally got to the point where it made an impact. When they moved it back, 6 or 9 inches or whatever it was, the first time they moved it back, like that wasn't that big of an impact. I mean, guys, most people don't really toe up to the line anyway.
Hey, did we already break? Oh, we got a break, so we get to Tom Brew. That's my fault. I looked down at the clock. I'm like, oh, man, are we going long? Yeah. I'm going to slap the producer's hand again.
Do it.
We got to hit a break. We got more coming up. Tom Brew's going to join us next here on Indiana Sports Beat with Coy O'Leary. We're back with more at the Golf Club of Eagle Point Studios right after this. Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
I'm Rain Shaddy, and I'm a Hoosier. As a toddler, you could always find me running around in a cream and crimson onesie and a red IU hat reminiscent of those worn during the world-famous William Tell timeout, shouting, "Go Hoosiers!" Like many other alum, I chose to make Bloomington my home. As a civic and alumni leader, I have become very knowledgeable about our community and would love to share my insights with you as your realtor. Find me on Facebook or call or text me, Ryan Shaddy, with FC Tucker Bloomington Realtors at 765-623-9093.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the Golf Club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington.
This is AJ Moye.
This is Dan Dawkins. Hey, this is Michael Lord, former Indiana basketball player.
This is Indiana football coach Tom Allen.
This is Jim Coyle with the Indiana Sports Beat. You can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for each and every day. Or, of course, on 97.7 The Ref in Evansville.
Bad theater seats, cheap Halloween masks, my apartment, all things with obstructed views. Add to these large trucks and buses. 18-wheelers and large buses have big blind spots, and like my apartment, they don't always have the best view. Bus and truck drivers deal with blind spots around the entire vehicle. Always take care not to ride alongside or too close behind them. Our roads, our safety. Learn more at sharetheroadsafely.gov.
This is former Indiana basketball player Brian Evans, and you're listening to Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle.
Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat with Coyle Leary here on this Friday, January 10th. Todd Leary, Jim Coyle sitting in with you as always. Joined now by our friend Tom Brew from Sports Illustrated Indiana. Tom, how are you?
I'm great, guys. Good today.
It is a rainy, soggy bottom boys day, it seems like, out there today, but that's okay. You need one of those every now and then.
I guess. I mean, it would have been a nice golf day in the middle of January, but but it's just, we got it in. Better a half an inch of rain than a foot of snow, that's for sure.
Yep, not a lot going on there, but a lot going on inside the offices of Indiana football. Tom Allen getting his staff secured for next season, officially announcing the appointment to offensive coordinator Nick Sheridan. Also, you got Mike Hart, who is going to be elevated to associate head coach, and Grant Hurd, who's going to serve as associate offensive coordinator or co-offensive coordinator. So keeping it in the family, keeping the coaching staff intact, which he sees as uber importance, and keeping the offense in continuity as well.
Yeah, I'm all for it. It's just that offense made great strides this year under Kalen DeBoer, and I had a nice long conversation with Kalen yesterday, and he went on and on and on about how the rest of the staff deserved just as much credit as he did for the season they had, because these guys are all really good teachers. All these guys got better individually, and all of them were great contributors in the meeting rooms in regards to game plans and such. And he's thrilled that it's all going to be able to stay together and keep going. And Nick Sheridan's a young guy. He's still in his 30s, but he's been sort of one of those rising stars in the profession for a long time. He was a 30 under 30 guy, and he's played in the Big Ten. He knows the way around it, and it was very instrumental in helping DeBoer a lot last year, as part of the game planning and such. So in my opinion, I think it's going to be a nice, smooth transition. And with all that talent back on offense that they've all, worked very closely with the last several years, I think it's a good move. And I think it's, this offense isn't going to miss a beat now. And, they've had this opportunity to have these extra 15 bowl practices, which will help. And that just accelerates the spring, which then accelerates the fall. And I expect this offense to still be really, really good next year.
Yeah, they've got a lot of guys coming back. They've got a lot more coming back than they're losing. So on both sides of the ball, that should give them the opportunity to be ready, because they open up at Wisconsin. So not only do you open up in Big Ten play on the road and at a formidable opponent, but this is a team that could shock a lot of people at the start of the season next year on the road. And it's going to be a Friday night game to top it off.
Yeah, it's that was announced yesterday. They're moving it up from Saturday to Friday, and I guess it just brings football one day closer to us. So but it's still a long 239-day journey to opening day. It's just way too far away. But yeah, no, I think it's good. I think it's good for the program. I mean, it's that Friday night window on Labor Day weekend. They'll get more of the spotlight to themselves than they would have, had they been, one of 40 or 50 games on Saturday. So. And it is a huge game. I mean, it's obviously, Wisconsin's very good. They've won the Big Ten West 4 times in the last 6 years. Obviously they're losing Jonathan Taylor, their great running back, and losing a whole bunch of offensive linemen. But Jack Cohn, their quarterback, is back. They got a huge recruit quarterback ready to go, and 2 great recruiting classes back to back as well. So they're just reloading, and so they're going to be real good, and they're going to be looking to contend again too. It's just a great way to start the season with a game that really, really matters a whole lot to both teams.
And then on the basketball side, of course, Indiana back in action at Simon Scott Assembly Hall tomorrow at noon, taking on a beleaguered Ohio State Buckeyes team that many of us, we've talked a lot about this, me and Todd, that this is a team that we thought was going to be fighting at the top of the Big Ten ledger. And, man, they're looking at going 1-4 if they come in here and leave with a loss.
Yeah, they've just sort of hit the skids, especially offensively. I watched a lot of their Wisconsin game on Friday night on my way to Maryland, and they were cruising right along, playing really well in that game. Then they just couldn't score. And they went, I think they scored 4 points in 8 minutes in the second half, and just kind of went from 8 up to 8 down just like that. And and they've since struggled. Obviously, we know from being there, losing at Maryland, there's no real shame in that because that Maryland team is really, really good right now. But Ohio State's definitely struggling to score points, and this could be a one of those knockdown, drag out, 48-46 games on Saturday, the way these two teams are playing.
Todd, you got anything?
In looking at after the game the other night and talking to some of the players, I know you get in there and you get to talk to some of them. I think you had asked a question to Justin Smith and some of those guys. Like, what did you read? Fans, I think, are reading into the fact of benching some guys or sitting Devontae down and maybe sitting Justin Smith down a little bit in part of that game at Northwestern. Like, what did you get a sense from those guys? I wasn't in the room with you in the press conference, and I know we heard the answers, but what kind of sense did you get from the players as to, did they kind of get a message, do you think, or do you think it was just we're reading more into it than what it was?
Well, no, I think we can read a whole bunch into it. It's when you've got your senior captain strapped to the bench for the final 11 minutes of a game, while you're down 10 and all of a sudden you pull out a victory. I mean, to me that's a huge statement, because it's just it's one thing when your primary role on a team is to be a shooter and you're 0 for 6. That's an issue. But he contributes so little else, to this team if he's not scoring. And, when he's not engaged, he just disappears. And, I think everybody saw it, and, when the change was made and then the run was made, all those guys who had been struggling really picked it up. I mean, Justin Smith had 5 turnovers in the first half and looked like he could have cared less. But second half, he was awesome. And in that run, when they started to press a little more and they started to get some runouts, I mean, Justin Smith in the open floor when he wants to attack the basket, nobody's going to stop him. And he had a couple big baskets, and Al Durham was aggressive going to the basket. He was like 11 of 12 from the line, and they turned it up a notch, and they played hard, and that's what we've been wanting to see from this team for a couple of weeks now. Is just to go out there and be aggressive and stick your nose in there and guard somebody and force some turnovers. And then when they finally did, they played well. So I mean, when those two and Trace Jackson Davis were in the interview room, I mean, they were obviously feeling pretty good when it was over because they played well down the stretch and they won.
Right.
And of course they're never going to talk bad about their own teammates, but I mean, I think it was clearly there. And like, to me, the message that's going to be sent, is Devontae Green in the starting lineup, on Saturday. It's like, I don't think he will be, and even though Rob Finney is still just not himself, I mean, he was part of that run at the end. So, I mean, to me, coaching is all about putting the guys out there who deserve to be out there. Well, if that's the case, then Rob Finney needs to be in the starting lineup on Saturday, and then take it from there. And then if you want to bring Devontae off the Green off the bench to get hot, then maybe you do that. But heck, maybe you don't. It's just it's going to be a very interesting environment on Saturday for a whole bunch of reasons. Because they, I wrote about it yesterday. But as far as I'm concerned, they avoided a complete implosion of the program, Wednesday night by pulling that game out because, there would have been some calls for some heads, if they had lost at home to Northwestern. And, maybe they're just delaying the inevitable. I don't know. But I mean, to me, I wouldn't be a bit surprised. And, me, I'm a glass half full guy. I wouldn't be a bit surprised if they came out and played really well on Saturday. Maybe that was just a spark they needed. And we'll see. But, with this team, I have no idea. It was the last line of my column. I mean, tomorrow they could either win by 20 or lose by 30, and I have no idea which one will happen.
Yeah, it's a Jekyll and Hyde situation, much like Ohio State has been as well. But we're certainly going to find out which one is Jekyll and which one is Hyde tomorrow afternoon at noon.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's a nice national TV game on Fox. You get the great Gus Johnson in the house, and Jimmy Jackson and Lisa Byington. All the best of them will be in the house, and it'll be good. I think it's gonna be a real electric atmosphere because you got the students don't start school till Monday, so I think there's a lot of people who are going to be coming to the game who don't get to come very often, and so I've got a feeling the place is just going to be real loud and energetic, but it's just up to these guys just to to help provide some of that energy, because Todd, from playing in front of these Indiana fans, if you give them something to cheer about, that place turns electric. But they're really good at sitting on their hands too. If you guys are boring the hell out of them, and it's just and that was obviously the case. In that Northwestern game, I never heard it so quiet. Like when Northwestern was pulling away, But then as soon as you give them something to cheer about, it got loud again. And I think the environment on Saturday is going to be great. I mean, obviously, we need to be there real early for some other stuff anyway. But to me, it's just going to be a great day there. I have got a feeling it's just going to be a good January Big Ten basketball day at Assembly Hall.
Yeah, I mean, one of the points that you make there that I think people kind of skim over from time to time is Indiana fans are fickle from the standpoint of the wins and losses and things like that. But one thing that they will always do is appreciate when a guy plays hard. And
Absolutely.
That's why so many times you see a kid come off the bench that maybe doesn't play that many minutes and dives on the floor and gets a loose ball or gets a big offensive rebound and kicks it out. And when he comes out of the game, he might have played 4 minutes and he gets a big ovation. The crowd definitely and this has always been the case, but they definitely recognize guys that play hard. And I swear, I say this all the time, Indiana fans, yes, they always want to win, but I swear Indiana fans would rather a team play hard and lose than play like a bunch of cool guys and win.
Oh, there's no question about that. It's just, that mentality's always been there. And, the sad part of that is, that, what those fans are used to are guys playing hard and winning,
and it usually equals a win.
It's just, but you're exactly right. If they have to choose, they'll take the hard playing team. And I think that's been one of the real frustrations with Indiana fans, just sort of in general, and not for all of the last, 20 years, but for a good bit of it.
Yeah.
The teams that drove Indiana fans nuts the most were the ones that looked like they didn't care. And there's and to me there's just a little bit of that, in this group here, and where whenever they face adversity, they usually start dropping their heads and they just don't hustle and they just kind of go through the motions. And it's just, that's why I was, granted, it's just Northwestern, an undermanned Northwestern team at that. But that's why I was glad to see they at least turned it on when they had to face adversity. They did something about it. So I mean, I would love to see them maybe pressure the ball full court a little bit more, just to kind of get everybody engaged early, against Ohio State, and maybe just having a higher energy level on both ends of the floor just might make them better. Instead of just standing there and just letting teams run their stuff. I mean, that drove me nuts on Saturday at Maryland. In the first half of that game, Maryland only had 3 turnovers, and Indiana had no steals. And they didn't pressure the ball at all. They just stood back and played their little man-to-man defense without any pressure. They just kind of went through the motions. And it's like you can't play that way, especially in the Big Ten, because when teams run their stuff, if you're not gonna take them out of their stuff, they're gonna score. And it's just to maybe to play differently and to play with a higher anxiety level and a higher energy level, that might be good for this team. Maybe that's what they need.
We'll certainly find out, because they'll have the opportunity to do so tomorrow at noon on Fox and Simon Scott Assembly Hall. Tom Brew, I can't thank you enough.
You're welcome, guys. We'll see you tomorrow.
Absolutely. It's Tom Brew from Sports Illustrated Indiana joining us as we get closer and closer to Indiana, Ohio State tomorrow at Simon Scott Assembly Hall. We got that and more to talk about when we come back here to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios. Coyle Leary back with more right after this.
You're not hopeless or helpless, and I hate to sound cold, but you don't know what love is.
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs, Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
I'm Rain Shaddy, and I'm a Hoosier. As a toddler, you could always find me running around in a cream and crimson onesie and a red IU hat reminiscent of those worn during the world-famous William Tell timeout, shouting, "Go Hoosiers!" Like many other alum, I chose to make Bloomington my home. As a civic and alumni leader, I have become very knowledgeable about our community and would love to share my insights with you as your realtor. Find me on Facebook or call or text me, Ryan Shaddy, with FC Tucker Bloomington Realtors at 765-623-9093.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the golf club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington.
This is AJ Moye.
This is Dan Dawkins.
Hey, this is Michael Lewis, former Indiana basketball player.
This is Indiana football coach Tom Allen.
This is Jim Coyle with the Indiana Sports Beat. You can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for each and every day. Or, of course, on 97.7 The Ref in Evansville.
Bad theater seats, cheap Halloween masks, my apartment, all things with obstructed views. Add to these large trucks and buses. 18-wheelers and large buses have big blind spots, and like my apartment, they don't always have the best view. Bus and truck drivers deal with blind spots around the entire vehicle. Always take care not to ride alongside or too close behind them. Our roads, our safety. Learn more at sharetheroadsafely.gov.
You're on the line with Jamal Meeks, former Indiana Hoosier, number 23, 1992. And I'm on the beat with Jim Coyle.
Transistor radio, standing in the sunlight laughing, hiding behind a rainbow's wall.
Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat with Coyle Leary here on this January 10th, Friday, rainy day, Soggy Bottom Boys Day. Not a lot going on tonight, Todd. Maryland is a 1.5-point favorite on the road in Ames, Iowa. Iowa, one of those teams that I thought we thought was going to be a middle of the road Big Ten team. Right now, they're down at the bottom. They're 1-3 in conference play, 10-5 overall. So they had a good start to the season, but they haven't had it go their way in conference play thus far.
Yeah, I mean, and they're going to live and die by making shots, and you know they're a team that when they're shooting it well, they're going to be really hard to beat. They score a lot of points, but they give up a lot of points. I mean, they're trying to outscore you for sure, but they're just a team. They shoot a lot of 3-pointers. They've got a lot of crafty players who can score the ball offensively, and that's going to put them in a position to be in a lot of games and win a lot of games. And if they shoot the ball well, truly, that they can beat anyone. I mean, Luke Garza, I think he's leading the Big Ten in scoring. He's as talented a big man as there is. I mean, he plays hard every possession. This team tonight, this won't be – anytime anyone goes into Iowa, it will not be a walk-in-the-park game, and I fully expect them – if I was picking the game to win, I would probably say I would pick Iowa to win. I mean, Maryland really struggles to score. Indiana made them look pretty good at it. They even struggled to score against Ohio State the other night. I think Iowa will pull it out.
I wouldn't be shocked at all. I mean, Iowa needs this game badly. We know they're not horrible. It's just whether or not they can get it going. Sitting right in front of Iowa in the standings is Ohio State, of course, Indiana's opponent on Saturday. Another team, and I keep talking about how desperately they need this win, but I think it's not from a lot of reasons. But number one, from their psyche. Mentally, if they go to 1-4
What does that do to a team, especially a team that has been talked about and they've been hearing about, that they're supposed to be one of the best in the conference, and yet if they were to go 1-4, that has to be very disturbing to their own mental capacity.
Well, it is. There's no doubt it is, from the standpoint of, it's hard once you get off to a bad start. It's hard to come back from it, and they didn't get off to the start they wanted. But I'll also say their schedule is kind of front loaded, where they've got several of the tough games early in the season. I mean, they've already played Penn State, at Minnesota. The Wisconsin loss at home is just the head scratcher. That's the one that just doesn't make it. If they were 2-2 right now, everybody'd probably be saying, they probably should have won that game at Minnesota. And then they'd be 3-1. But we could woulda, coulda, shoulda all day long. They haven't done it. But their schedule towards the end of the Big Ten season is one of the easier ones. I mean, they've got a stretch where they'll probably win 7 or 8 games in a row, but they finished their year out at Michigan State, and obviously that there's a chance early on that game looked like it might be to decide who was going to win the Big Ten. But if they go 1-4, that game is not going to be to decide that.
And currently, Michigan State sitting atop the men's standings in basketball. They have won 8 straight games, by the way. They're 13-3 overall, 5-0 in the conference. Things are going their way right now after a suspect start for them, Todd.
Yeah, and they've got a pretty darn easy schedule too. They go to Purdue on Sunday. And that's always a battle. Purdue, for some reason, always plays Michigan State well. And at Mackey Arena, you probably expect Purdue to be right there in that game. But then after that, Michigan State's got Wisconsin that comes in there. Then they're at Indiana and at Minnesota. The at Indiana game, I'm sure they're looking at as will be a tough one. They should win at Minnesota. Then they've got Northwestern, and they've got their schedule is pretty. It's set up pretty good. Now they end the year with at Maryland, at Penn State, and Ohio State at home. So they're backloaded on their schedule as to the most difficult parts of it. So
here's one no one saw coming. After winners of 6 straight games, 11-0 at home, 12-3 overall, 3-1 in the Big Ten. Your Rutgers Scarlet Knights.
Yep. It was they're scrappy. They've got some veteran guys. And I tell you what, if you watch them, they play hard, and that's, that'll be an interesting game for Indiana, because I had that marked down, going into the season when I marked Indiana with 14 wins in the Big Ten. Obviously they've got to steal a couple on the road, and that Rutgers and at Nebraska back-to-back games next week are 2 I had Indiana stealing. And so, that'll be a turning point for Indiana. I mean, that's a big game. If they could win against Ohio State on Saturday and then turn around and go win at Rutgers and at Nebraska, Indiana will be sitting right there in second place in the Big Ten.
Yeah, because teams like Rutgers, who do not get to experience the joy of playing in the NCAA tournament that often, sitting here at 12-3, 11-0 at home, they're salivating right now at a potential NCAA tournament bid.
Yeah, they are. I mean, heck, how many times have they been 12-3? Probably not very many. And they've got to go to Illinois tomorrow. So that'll be a game that'll be a big one for them. That's that game. If you want to turn the corner and you want to get, they're at 12-3 right now. If they want to get to 22 wins, we'll go to Illinois. You've got to go steal one on the road. So that would be one I think they could have a chance at going to pick up. They've played well. I mean, they're a good, solid team. It's not a fluke. They're a good team.
Ryan up in Michigan says Indiana 73, Ohio State 65. How about the IU women's as well? Yep. He also predicts 22 points, assist out of Devontae Green on Saturday. I would take that bet if I could.
He said what?
22 and 6.
I mean, I'll say this. He's got a lot better chance at the 22 than he does the 6.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think he's ever had 6 assists in his life.
I just be honest with you, I don't care if he has 6 assists. I mean, I don't care.
You want to see him scoring the ball.
I want to see him making shots. I want to see him taking good shots and making shots. That's what he is. That's what he's on their floor for.
Yeah, I mean, you want to see him scoring points.
I sure do.
Of course, that's what his job is there for. But the good thing is if they can get to a point to where this team doesn't – they're not going to not depend on Trace Jackson Davis. That's not going to change. He is what he is, and that's a good basketball player. But they need to have routinely and consistently guys like Al Durham or Devontae Green or Rob Finney, for that matter, or Justin Smith. But they have to consistently step up and be that other guy. The other night we saw a nice inside-out combination with Al Durham and Trace Jackson Davis, both having good nights, mostly at the free throw line, albeit. But you had a nice inside-out combination there. And they've got to have that consistently. We haven't seen that very often.
Yeah, no, we definitely haven't. I know we talked real early in the season. One of the things we wanted to see was different players stepping up all the time. And what we were hoping to see was different players stepping up and everyone playing pretty solid and playing pretty well. And then, occasionally a guy has an outstanding, unbelievable performance. And, it's kind of been we went 2 games in a row, Arkansas and who was the other game? Arkansas, I forget who the other game was. Oh, Maryland. And we literally could not have named a player of the game. I mean, there wasn't anyone that even played decent. So, they need everyone to play well. This is the game you want, though. I mean, these are you had a game that you should win at home this week, and then you back it up with a really tough opponent that at one time was ranked number 2 in the country. They've beaten some really, really good teams, and you want to come in and you want to play this game. I mean, this is why you go to Indiana.
Indiana's got to find themselves as a team.
They do.
They just have
What's
to.
their identity? What's their identity right now?
Yeah.
I can't pinpoint it.
That's the thing. And until they can, they're not going to be successful. They've got to know who they are, what they can do, what to expect of themselves, and they've got to get to that point. And I think that Archie is finally there himself of realizing that and saying, "Hey, I've just got to stop counting on some guys that are not coming through."
Yeah, the only real positive thing I can say that's a characteristic of them is I think everyone does believe now on the team that they need to play through the big guys, and they need to play through Trace Jackson Davis and even Joey Brunk. And that ball needs to go inside. I think they'll even get better and continue to improve if they add Justin Smith to that mix, if they start playing through him in the post, not out on the wing, but in the post. They were double teaming. Northwestern was double teaming, on the first dribble every single possession, no matter who had it in the post. Last week, you won't see that out of Ohio State. There'll be a different game plan. They don't feel like they need to double team. They may double team Trace Jackson Davis only, but they won't double team anybody else. And it won't be, it's easy to predict what they're going to do when they're going to double team and they're coming on the first pass or the first bounce. Everybody on the team should recognize that and know that. And a second a guy dribbles, they're starting to rotate defensively, and you've got to rotate offensively. You've got to cut to the open spots, and that's what Indiana's not been doing.
It's going to be a big, big game for Indiana tomorrow in a lot of different ways, but one of the ways it's because it is the managers and players reunion. There's going to be a ton of former players there. If you're going to the game, get there early for whatever they may have planned and enjoy all those festivities. Of course, immediately after the game, you have After the Game with Todd Leary that will be coming to you from Yogi's. Brought to you by Best Beer Incorporated of Bloomington. Never know who's going to show up for that special show tomorrow. So we're looking forward to that. Looking forward to being back at Yogi's again after the game. And looking forward to hopefully talking about a win. That would be the best thing of all. But feel free to come on out and join us tomorrow after the game at Yogi's. We look forward to it.
Yeah, please do. And remember, Yogi's is opening up early tomorrow, 10 a.m. opening tomorrow for all those people traveling into town to grab something to eat before the game. They're opening at 10 o'clock tomorrow.
Yep, I may have to go there myself, man. It sounds like a nice place to be.
We will. Some mini corn dog, pregame mini corn dogs.
Ooh, that should become a ritual. That may have to become a ritual.
It is for me.
I could eat some mini corn dogs right now.
Right now, I could too. I could
mustard, some mustard on there, some beer mustard, maybe. I don't know.
Ketchup only. Ketchup only.
Oh, no, man, that ruins. No ketchup on a hot dog. No mustard and onions or relish or jalapenos or something.
You're stupid.
Well, that's not even up for debate.
Ketchup is the only condiment.
Yeah, not on my hot dog. I like ketchup on my hamburgers with mustard, but
Not on my hot dog. Just not. Mike Leach is going to Mississippi State. That's going to be fun having him in the SEC.
Yeah, it will be. You talk about they'll recruit some quarterbacks down there, won't they?
I guarantee it. And he's going to, oh, man. Nick Saban and Mike Leach in the same conference. Christmas come early, baby. Christmas come early. That'll be fun.
It will be.
But that's going to pretty much wrap it up for us. We had another great week. We appreciate you guys so much. I cannot ever thank you enough. Thanks for all the texts today. You guys were great. Lit it up. Of course, tomorrow, join us after the game with Todd Leary. Like I talked about, we'll be on live as soon as the game completes on Facebook Live. You can find us there. You guys have done a great job finding us, and we look forward to that. Big day tomorrow. Lots of players in town. So all kinds of stuff going on, Todd Leary. Are you looking forward to it?
I am definitely looking forward to it. I'm hoping there is one special guest there tomorrow. It'll be a day to remember.
It certainly will be. We'll find out. We'll know, and we'll be talking about it tomorrow. Who knows? Maybe special guest will be on the show. You never know.
Now you're pushing it.
Hey, just let me tease
But you never know. You're right. You never know.
Hey, that while though unlikely, it is not impossible.
Dude, what would we even ask him?
Oh, I would just start firing it out there on camera.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would just start firing it out there. That would not be a problem. I look forward to it. But, I can't thank everybody on the text today enough. Let's see, we got a couple more in there at the end. Roger says, no, I can't read that. Anyway, so.
Close her up. Close her up.
That's good. We're going to go close up shop, man. And we'll be back tomorrow after the game. For Jake, for Todd Leary, I'm Jim Coyle. Until tomorrow, I will see you on the radio.